You remember Blockbuster? They dominated the movie rental space from roughly 1985 to the early 2000s before filing for bankruptcy in 2010. And now we have Netflix and Redbox. So, why is this important? Because we have a lot of Blockbuster wholesalers that will not do what is necessary to pivot and grow. And because of this, they are going to go out of business just like Blockbuster has. And in order to become a Netflix wholesaler, you have to watch this video. I am going to show you, if you're a Blockbuster wholesaler or if you're just starting off, how to make sure that you become that Netflix wholesaler instead of that Blockbuster one. So I'm going to cover all these steps and more coming up. I am John Barbera with an investor's journey, bringing you the freshest tips and strategies to help you invest in real estate the right way. In this channel, we share with you lessons learned as full-time real estate investors, like this video right here. So if this is your first time, consider subscribing. So I actually wanted to cover some quick announcements. We have so much coming up in 2021. We're planning to bring out a lot more of series style videos where we're going to go from start to end on wholesaling, flipping, buy and hold, everything that you need. We're going to cover every aspect, everything. We're going to be going live a lot more. So this way we can do live trainings and you can ask questions, we can interact, kind of mastermind on things. And we're going to be covering marketing, branding, everything that has to do to make sure that there's no excuses left for 2021. So consider subscribing and hit that bell so you get notified every time we drop a video. So I'm going to break down what a Blockbuster wholesaler looks like, just in case you're not quite aware if you are one. And I'm going to show you all of the things that are preventing this Blockbuster wholesaler from becoming a Netflix wholesaler. And then we're going to wrap up with me showing you how and what it is that you can do right now to make sure you become the Netflix of wholesaling and not only just stay in business, but grow and expand your business. Make sure you stick around to the end because I'm going to share with you a bonus tip that's going to make your 2021 your best year ever, regardless of what happens in the market. So, what's a Blockbuster wholesaler? A Blockbuster wholesaler is somebody that has had some level of success in real estate, in wholesaling, and they've become very complacent with the strategies, the tactics, the marketing, and everything they've been doing. They've been doing it, it's been working, and they just can't change. They will not pivot. Let's see how they handle the two biggest aspects of wholesaling. So let's take marketing. Biggest thing a wholesaler has to do is marketing. If you didn't know that, now you know. Marketing is the core of what it is to be a wholesaler. You need to generate leads. So what happens with a Blockbuster wholesaler? Let's say they've been doing direct mail marketing, and this is very true. This is exactly what's happened. So you've been doing direct mail marketing and it's been working. It's been working for some time. You've been able to get your consistent lead flow, wholesaling, making some money. But what happens? The market changes, right? Market changes. It gets more competitive. More people are coming in the market, whatever it may be. Market changes. So now your return is going way down. So what is this Blockbuster wholesaler doing? He's saying, you know what? I'm starting to struggle. I'm not getting as many deals. Let me actually double down and put even more money into this marketing so I can increase my lead flow. One thing you got to keep in mind with all this is that at some point you're going to start having diminishing returns where now you are spending this much to make this much, but now slowly you're going to start spending either the same or more to make less money. And this is something that you got to keep in mind. Diminishing returns does not make you profit. So you got to understand, if you are a Blockbuster wholesaler, you are most likely doing this. Now let's look at the other side, the strategies, right? So you're doing marketing, and now what are you marketing to, right? What kind of deals are you structuring? How are you getting these under contract? So strategies. You are, as a Blockbuster wholesaler, you've been doing your 70% minus repairs, all day long submitting cash offers. That's your strategy. That's the one thing that you've been doing since you started, and you've been killing it doing it, right? Again, the market shifted. More people coming in the market. Seller motivation has changed. Buyer dynamics have changed. All these things change. Now it's getting very, very hard to find those 70% minus repairs. So, what is it that these Blockbuster wholesalers are doing? So now you're not getting the deals that you need, right? To get that 70% minus repairs, add your wholesale fee on that, and get a nice deal. You're not getting those anymore. So what do you start doing? You start again putting more money into marketing so you can increase the amount of lead flow that you get to hopefully get more deals that will fit that. Or you start doing virtual wholesaling, which is I see this being one of the biggest downside to being a wholesaler, period, because you never become an investor this way. All you're doing is chasing that money. You're chasing that paycheck. You're not understanding anything. You're not learning any strategies. You're not building any reputation. You're not building any credibility. You're just chasing that dollar. You understand? And that is the thing that puts you out of business, because at some point you just cannot keep up wholesaling. At some point, wholesaling it's never been a business. It can't be a business. You understand? It's a great stepping stone, but not a business. And when you turn to virtual wholesaling, or you're doubling down on your money, now you start losing money. You start kind of wholesaling garbage. You're not even understanding what you're wholesaling. You're just moving through, making the motions, doing all that just so you can make some money. Not what we consider to be right real estate investing, because somebody's getting screwed along the line on that. So we recommend very strongly against that. By all means, you're free to do what you want, but I recommend that you make sure that you don't become a Blockbuster wholesaler. And remember, if you are getting value out of this, hit that like button below. That really helps. Now, how do you become the Netflix of wholesaling? In order to be the Netflix of wholesaling, you need to be willing to adapt and to pivot as necessary. This means not being emotional. This is an ability that if you can master it now, it's going to translate very, very well as you become a full-fledged investor, somebody that flips, somebody that holds rentals, builds, does owner financing, everything in the investment realm. Being emotional is something that is always going to work against you. You have to be analytical. You have to take the market as it is and not as you would like it to be. You understand? This is where the emotions come in. There's so many people that get so emotional because they want the market to be a way that the market's going to work well for them. And that's just not how it works. The market does what it does. You, as the investor, need to interpret this. You need to understand this, and then you need to adapt to it. So then you are always giving the market what it needs. That's what is a successful entrepreneur. A successful entrepreneur finds a need in the market and then delivers that need at a price, at a location, somewhere where the market is going to accept it. You understand? Once the market accepts that, now you have yourself a business. And that is what you need to do. This isn't something that, like, if you build it, they will come kind of thing. This is something that look at what the market is asking, look at what the market is doing, and then give it that. That's how you make money. It's very simple when you start understanding that. When does it become complicated? Is when you start mixing your emotions into this. But I've been marketing this way for so long, but I've been doing this type of strategy for so long. Damn it, I hate this. These buyers are so stupid. These wholesalers are idiots. These sellers, they're out of their minds. What does any of that matter? The sellers are who they are. The wholesalers are who they are. The buyers are who they are. You need to take that as it is and figure out, how can I make this to my advantage and give these people what they want? Because guess what? Right now in the market, as tough as it may be in certain markets, there are still people buying. There's still people buying houses. There's still people renovating houses. There's still people wholesaling houses. There's obviously people selling houses. So The question is, what are you doing wrong that you're not capturing that piece of the pie? Let's look at that. So let's see how a Netflix wholesaler handles the same challenges that the Blockbuster wholesaler put them out of business. Same marketing scenario. All right. Doing direct mail, it's been working. Market changes, right? Market changes, more people come in. Coronavirus happens, shutdown happens. Buyers, sellers become a little more sophisticated. They start ignoring direct mail, whatever it is. Something happens. What does a Netflix wholesaler do? Take a step back and they start analyzing. Okay, cold calling, door knocking, ringless voicemails, text messaging, SEO, social media ads. You start getting creative. Not because direct mail is no longer working, you're going to sit, cry, moan, and invest all this extra money chasing something that is no longer working. Stop doing this to yourself. This is what this is how wholesalers, real investors, they understand the market and how they can stay in business because they're just take the data, which is direct mail isn't working anymore. Okay, but there's still people selling, right? There's still people that need to sell their home. What are they doing? Where are they going? So maybe they're getting inundated with direct mail. All right, try something else. Go door knock, go cold call, do something else. There's so many other ways of getting in front of the homeowner. And that's what you need to think. What can I do to get in front of homeowners? Get creative. Now you're probably saying, John, relax. All of those things cost money. Yes. And going out of business costs money too. Don't you think right now Blockbuster's probably wishing, man, we should have stuck it out with that investment because they were trying to transition into what Netflix was doing. But what happened? It was hurting their bottom line revenue. So the board got together like, hey, relax, you're killing us here. You understand? Let's stick to what we do best. What they did best was no longer the best thing to do. And they went out of business. Are these strategies going to cost you more money? Yeah. Are they going to cost you more money than maybe direct mail has been? Yeah, pretty much. But the way you got to look at it is you are you're planting, all right? You're putting seeds in the ground. So what you got to do with this is you're putting these seeds, now you just got to water them. You got to nurture them. And at first, yes, it's expensive because you're not getting anything out of them. But you start building that up. What you got to understand is that yes, you're not getting anything out of these new strategies right this second, but direct mail is dying more and more. And I'm not trying to bash on direct mail. It might be working. Put whatever marketing tactic you want to use in that realm. But what you want to understand is that whatever is over here, it's dying. And it's probably dying a lot quicker than you think it's dying because these things typically die very fast. So it's dying. So that's when you still have this going on and it's kind of bringing you a little bit of something, but you're starting to see those trends. You're starting to see how it's starting to diminish. It's starting to cost a little more money, a little less money's coming in. That's when you start making all this new planting. Now you start putting in seeds everywhere. You start doing a little bit of something else. So maybe you start testing out cold calling. You start testing out, and there's ways of doing it. A lot of these strategies are a lot cheaper or even free. But what matters is that you start planting seeds for those. Look, everything is hard at first, especially marketing, because it costs a lot of upfront and sometimes it takes a while to get something back. But guess what? That's what investing is. Investing is you are investing time, you're investing capital in something that you believe is going to bring you a return later on. And hopefully, if done right, you're going to get a return not just later on, but continuously moving forward. And this is really why so many people fail is because they are trying to take as soon as they put down. As soon as they start, they're trying to take profit. You understand? We've had wholesalers that they've gotten their first wholesale check, $3,000, and they went on a cruise. They went on a vacation. They used that $3,000 and go, I haven't gone on vacation for. I get it, and I feel for you. You know, it sucks. You haven't gone on a vacation, whatever. But you haven't gone on a vacation, but you just started. Why don't you take that $3,000 and reinvest it? Then the 3 grand can maybe make you 5 grand or 6 grand. You take that, you reinvest it. Because what are you in business for? To make a couple $1,000? That's not a sustainable business. You got to have the patience to plant, nurture that seed, wait for it, let it grow, get whatever fruits come out, take that fruit, reinvest that fruit until you have a nice big field that you know that you're like, okay, now I have what I want. Now I'm generating what I need. You need the patience for that. Now, how does a Netflix wholesaler handle offers, right? Maybe your offer was the 70% minus repairs strategy, cash offer, right? That no longer works. Okay, time to get creative. This is when you can step into listings, subject twos, owner finance. Maybe you start understanding how an investor can monetize on a tighter margin, right? We've flipped houses that are not 70% minus repairs. We've done deals like that. We've picked up rentals that are not your 80% rules, but we've managed to understand where the market is and still cut out a little piece of profit from these and still keep the machine churning, right? At those points, maybe you're not hitting too many home runs, but you're hitting a lot of single bases. And eventually all the single bases fill up and they just keep revolving, and it's just always getting that score coming on the board. So you got to understand, this is the time for you to get creative. And this is why, like I said, listings, and a lot of people are probably like, well, I'm an investor, I'm a wholesaler, right? I don't do listing, I'm not an agent. You should consider it. Either consider getting your real estate license or consider partnering with somebody that has a real estate license, which is what I did with my business partner, John. That just opens up a whole other avenue of profit generating. We've done a lot of listings during this COVID crisis because housing inventory got so low that just putting a house on the market got it sold. It didn't matter that it was outdated. People wanted a house, period. You understand? So if you are getting emotional about being an agent or doing listings, you're hurting yourself drastically. I mean, you could be making 5 to 7 grand on a listing that's easy in this market because all you got to do is just list it. We have such low inventory that as long as it hits the market, it's going to sell. Why aren't you doing this? You understand? If you're in Texas, we strongly recommend Stepstone Realty. If you become an agent and you want to do investing, it's the only brokerage that in Texas that you can join that is a brokerage and they allow investing, real investing. You understand? This is the only brokerage. All their investors, all their agents are investor agents. Their owner is an investor. The broker, she's an investor. I mean, it's an amazing company. That's who John is under. We don't get any any kickbacks or anything for me telling you this. I'm just telling you this because it's the only company that in Texas that you can partner with, that you can work with, and there's a wealth of resources there for investors and agents alike. Really consider becoming an agent. It's going to open your portfolio up tremendously as far as making money. I know you're saying right now, John, I don't like these. I don't like those options. Some of them, they take too long. I don't like doing those things. Okay, and what the hell does it matter what your feelings are? Remember, nobody cares about your feelings. Nobody cares about your emotions. These strategies work. Do them. Get familiarized. Learn to like them. You understand? They take too long. Yes. Get them going. The sooner you start, the sooner they start all kind of getting that wheel turning. No excuses. But John, I don't know how to do those deals. I've never done anything like that. Okay, that's a good problem. You know, that's you have a good point right there. Partner. I've said it a million times. If you listen to any one of our pieces of content, I talk about partnerships so much because guess what? You didn't know how to walk when you were born. And somebody took the time to show you, to help you, to be there every step of the way. You understand? It's the same thing. The same principles apply as we get older. You don't know how to do something? find somebody that does, have them teach you. You understand? Partnership is the free way of doing this. You're a wholesaler, you're generating leads, you're generating deals. Partner with somebody, let them teach you. Be like, hey, I got a seller. It's what we tell all our wholesalers. If you get a seller that says, yes, I want to sell my house, that's all we need. You call me, I'll go with you. We'll meet you at the property of the homeowner. I'll negotiate it. I'll get it on the contract. I'll do everything and we'll split the wholesale fee. Or most likely, I'll buy the property from you, paying you a wholesale fee. You understand? Because I need the deals as a buyer. You understand? So I'm willing to help you. I'm willing to show you, yeah, I get your strategy with 70% minus repairs. But in this one, we're actually going to get a little more creative. We're actually going to pick it up for a lot higher than that because I know in this area, we can actually turn it just as is by putting it on the market, listing it. My business partner is a real estate agent. I can lower all of our fees tremendously. That extra percentage here increases our profit here. We get the deal done where normally you would have not been able to. So I want to actually share a personal story with you. When I first started, I did not want to do any flipping at all. I didn't want to. I didn't like flipping. I didn't want to have anything to do with flipping houses. I came from construction. I came from renovating houses. I saw what that was. I hated it with such a passion. I'm like, there's way too much risk in there. Once you open up a wall, you don't even know what the hell's behind that wall, how much work it's gonna take. It's not scalable because you can't just have crews all over the place. They need to be managed. So I was like, it was just such a headache. I didn't want to do it. And it hurt us. That decision, that emotion about it was hurting us because it was getting to a point where a lot more people were coming into the space of wholesaling and deals were getting tighter in profit spread. Now, we could have increased our profit margins, but we would have had to start taking advantage of buyers more and, kind of fudging the numbers a little bit like a lot of wholesalers have done. And that was just not something that John and I wanted to do. So I went ahead and I put my emotions aside and we started actually buying flips. And we got into it. We bought flips. And our business grew exponentially. Our business exploded from that point. And then I decided to say no to new builds. Same thing. New builds, come on. Whole different animal, right? Why the hell are we going to get into new builds? We're flipping, we're doing our thing, we're doing good. Why new builds? I don't want to do that shit. No, it's too complicated, all this. Don't want to do it. We're building our fourth house, we're about to close on 2 lots. We're buying more. We're building more. It got to a point where I'm just done getting my emotions. And now, what do? I take the time. I look at it. I take the emotion outside of it. I look at where's the market? What's the risk exposure? Do the numbers make sense? And if all those things line up, let's go. Let's take a crack at it. Bonus tip time. All right. So I told you at the beginning, I'm going to give you a great tip that's going to help you make 2021 the best year ever. All right. So you're probably asking, all right, great. How do I get the answers that I'm looking for, right? How do I know what marketing I should be doing? How do I know what the market is? How do I know what strategies are working? What's working? Networking, the power of your network is how you're going to figure that out. I did a video very recently, and you can click on it up here. I did a video on how to network during this pandemic. How can you network from home? All right? There's no excuses. There's no, the events are shut down. How can you do this? There's no excuses. I gave you step by step how to do this from home. All right? But increasing your network, knowing who the people are, this is how you can predict the future. All right? This is how you can understand not just what's working now, but what's coming later. Because through your network, you are able to see what are investors investing in? Where is the city shifting to? What pockets are starting to come up? Why are they starting to come up? What are people looking to buy? Where are retail buyers going? All of this comes from networking, from people that are boots on the ground doing this day in and day out. This is how you get into seeing the trends. And by seeing the trends, you're able to start actually predicting where the market is going, what strategy is next, what tactic for marketing or generating leads or closing deals or making money is next. That's how we've been able to stay in business. We stay so in tune with the market and with our network that we can always see, no, this is why we got into new builds. We saw that transition coming in. And ever since we've gotten in, we see it more and more and more and just validating. The same thing when we were wholesaling to buy and hold investors. I mean, all of these things we were seeing because we spent so much time in the market, we spent so much time networking, and it has kept us in business and helped us keep growing. So, if you want to know how you can get started in real estate with no money, I did a video right here that's going to show you everything you need to know. It's a whole series on how you can actually get started with no money. No gimmicks, nothing. Check that out. And for more training, check it out here. And if you are finding all of this stuff valuable, I ask you, please share it. It really goes a long way. So, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.